What's up, everyone? Mr. NoobTube Gamer. Today we're playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 in 2022. We're gonna see how the game holds up 13 years later. And this game holds a very special place in my heart, as I'm sure it does for a lot of you watching this video. For me personally, it was the very first COD that I ever played. So you can imagine I have a lot of fondness towards this game, despite all the problems it had, because yes, MW2 did have a lot of problems. It was not a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination. It's probably one of the worst balanced FPS games of all time. But at the same time, because of how crazy and unbalanced it was, that also made it a lot of fun. Like, I can't imagine MW2 would have been half as fun without the one-man army danger close noob tubes, the ridiculously OP kill streaks like the AC-130, and of course the tactical nuke, and all the classic iconic weapons like the intervention, Model 1887 Akimbo, ACR, P90, UMP45. I can go on and on and on and on and on. Sure, there's a lot of bullshit in this game. Don't even get me started with the death streaks. It was a very frustrating game, but there was also no other game like it. Modern Warfare 2, in my opinion, is the pinnacle of online multiplayer gaming. If you weren't around back then, I would say you missed out on a lot, but thankfully the game is still going in 2022, so if you didn't play it back then, and you never played it before, maybe you're like a newer Call of Duty fan where your first game was Modern Warfare 2019 or Cold War, and you didn't play Modern Warfare 2, the game still holds up pretty well after all this time, in my opinion. Maybe I'm biased because it was my first Call of Duty game, so my perspective will be different, and your perspective may also be different if, you didn't play Call of Duty back then, and Modern Warfare was your first COD, meaning the new Modern Warfare. And then what you expect and what you want from a Call of Duty game, your expectations will probably be very, very, very different. Especially with the new games being filled with skill-based matchmaking and all this stuff that tries to, level out the playing field. Modern Warfare 2 does no such thing. I'll just say that. It is the most unforgiving online game that you could possibly play. And it's a lot of fun, though, once you learn the game, once you learn how to exploit the game, once you understand, okay, if I have a noob tube, I can just get a free kill, basically, because I just shoot it up in the air, shoot it in the general vicinity of where I think the enemies are. I'm pretty much going to get a kill without even trying. If you understand that, if you understand tactical insertions and how advantageous those could be, planting them in the right spot where the enemies usually spawn, when the spawns flip, and you can just get a whole bunch of kills because they didn't see you coming. There's definitely a learning curve, but once you understand those things, it can really become a lot of fun. Like, once you know how to exploit the game and you take advantage of that and get a bunch of ridiculous kills like that you know deep down you shouldn't have gotten because it's unfair, it's kind of bullshit. There's no feeling like it. There's no other feeling like it in online gaming. Definitely not. It's one of those things you hear a lot about, but you really need to play it in order to understand it. It's definitely not everyone's cup of tea. There are a lot of people that hate games like that don't have proper balancing and have a bunch of times where, half the time you die, not even half, 80% of the time that you die in this game, it's for bullshit reasons. I can imagine a lot of the new COD players will play this game and then immediately uninstall it because of how ridiculous the balancing is. But I find the bad balancing to actually be very charming. And what's even more funny is, this game is basically like a time capsule from 2009 and 2010. Because all the shit talk, all the trash talk that people did back in the day on Xbox Live, guess what? People are still doing that shit today. People still talking in the voice chat about how they fuck the other player's mom, and a lot of N-words. Definitely a lot of N-words. So, that might not be your cup of tea. But basically, it's just crazy how the entire feel of the game, from the core gameplay experience to the very, very toxic community, all of that has been preserved, for better or worse. In this gameplay, I'm playing the Xbox 360 version of Modern Warfare 2. There are 3 versions of the game. There's a 360 version, the PS3 version, and PC. So you have a choice of playing on any of those 3 platforms. Of course, with the Xbox 360, there's backwards compatibility. So if you have an Xbox One, which is what I'm actually playing it on, or even a Series X, you can actually play MW2 via backwards compatibility. But if you're on PlayStation, it's a little bit more challenging to play the game these days, as it is not playable on the newer PlayStation consoles. You're going to have to dust up the old PS3. One thing is that the PS3 has an issue. Once that name change thing happened back in 2018 or 2019, it pretty much fucked up the entire progression system. So if you're a new player on the PS3 and you're trying to play, none of your progress will be saved. It'll keep going and going. Let's say you play for 2 hours, you make it to level, 10 or 15. It'll act like the game is saving your progress, but once you log out and log back in, you'll be level 1 all over again. So your progress will not be saved on the PS3. if you're a new player. The Xbox 360 does not have that problem, and the PC does not have that issue either. So I would say, yeah, if you're a new player, if you do not have an account from 2009 or whatever, then I would say don't bother trying to play the PS3 version. I mean, that kind of sounds like common sense. If you can't save your progress, what's the fucking point? Now, as far as whether you should get the PC version or the Xbox version, obviously, if you have no other option, you pick the one that is best for, you know, your purposes. So if you're only a PC gamer, you don't have a console, or you don't want to pay for Xbox Live or whatever, I would say get the PC version. But if you actually have a choice between the two, I would definitely recommend the Xbox 360 version, which of course is playable on Xbox One and Xbox Series X. And I say that mostly because if you try to play the vanilla servers on PC, like the original version of Modern Warfare 2, not the modded stuff, like if you're trying to play regular MW2 online on PC in 2022, there are a lot of hackers and a lot of problems. Like I've heard of stories where people have had their entire computer infected with viruses, with malware, just playing Modern Warfare 2 online. And from my experience, I didn't get any viruses, but I did have a thing where it would pretty much lock my computer, where I cannot get out of the game. I can't access the pause menu to quit the game if I'm done playing, and I can't get out of the game. Even with the task manager, nothing works. And that's something that these hackers, or whatever you want to call them, what they did to the game, that's something that the hackers did. It's not like a problem, like a bug that Activision caused. It's just something that these hackers are doing for some reason, locking you out, not letting you quit the game. I don't know what that's all about. So for that reason, I do not play vanilla MW2 on PC. I'll play some custom private servers with friends, get a few games of free-for-all going, but I'm not going to play regular MW2. And as far as modded MW2 goes, I don't like the whole custom shit they have going on over there. Where they have no noob tubes and they have all these rules, all these balancing changes they decide to make, where at some point, like, it's not really Modern Warfare 2 anymore. It's some modded PC bullshit. It's like, it's based off of Modern Warfare 2, but it's not really MW2 because they've changed the game so much that I really don't enjoy playing IW4X or any of the custom clients for MW2. That's just a personal preference for me, but I would just say, if you're an MW2 purist, if you loved the original game, the Xbox 360 is definitely the best version that you can play. And there's still a good amount of players in 2022. I have very few problems getting into games. At certain times, I will have some issues, like if I'm trying to play at, I don't know, like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. But if I'm trying to play in the daytime, even on weekdays, I get into games fairly easily, even with DLC. Because usually with older games, DLC, it's a lot harder to get matches if you have the map packs installed. But I have the map packs, and I even still play DLC matches in 2022. So that just shows that the community is still going fairly strong in 2022. I mean, it's not too populated. I mean, it is a 13-year-old game, but considering the fact that the game came out that long ago, 2 generations ago, I think it's fairly impressive how much of a player base that we still have for Modern Warfare 2 in 2022. I think that really speaks to how much an amazing game it was back in the day, that people are still playing it after all this time. It was and still is one of the greatest Call of Duty games, one of the greatest FPS games ever made. So that's Modern Warfare 2 in 2022. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about Modern Warfare 2. Did you ever play it back in the day, and do you still play it these days? As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.